Yes, we're doing the Rosary Chant today, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to be singing the Rosary Chant. And so if you have any questions, I am going to be here for your questions. Now, and so for those of you studying seminary, it's important that we be able to sing the Bible verses. So I'm in Matthew 1, the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah. This is the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, son of David, son of Abraham. Abraham was father of Isaac, Isaac the father of Jacob. Hello, Kikoi VR. We are singing our Rosary Chant today. Judah, the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar. Perez, the father of Hezron. Oh, I thank you. We're doing a rosary chant with the rest of the churches today. So they're on YouTube doing rosary chants, and that's why we're singing it. Hezron, the father of Ram, Ram, the father, Aminadab, Aminadab, the father, Nahshon, Nahshon, the father of Salmon, the fish Salmon, the father of Boaz. This seems like a really, really slow way to actually read. It seems like a very slow way to read. Whose mother was Rahab, Boaz, the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth, Obed, the father of Jesse, and Jesse, the father of King David. David was father of Solomon, whose mother had been Uriah's wife. Hey dude, how are you? No, I don't know you, Etham. I have no idea who you are. But I'm giving you a shout out. Hello, Etham. Kakoi VR is in here. So get some of your other friends to subscribe and follow and, watch my videos. There was, what the heck was her name last night? I can't remember her name right offhand, but, one of the, let's talk Turkish? Solomon, the father of Rehoboam, the father of Abijah, father of Asa, the father of Jehoshaphat, the father of Jehoram, the father of Uzziah, father Jotham. Oh, it scratches your brain. Isn't it a little... Do you really mean that it's beautiful, or are you joking that it's when you say it scratches your brain? I mean, in a way, it's it is chanting, And it's sort of like ASMR a little bit, isn't it? Because all human voices are sort of, I'm not sure what the word is. Uzziah, the father of Jotham, Jotham, Father, blessed are those who sin. Jesus died on the cross for your sins. Okay. Etham says, I joked. It's very nice, but it would be better if you said it from with. Oh, that's funny. You mean now what you're saying is you think it would be better if I did a silent prayer? You don't want me singing? Oh my gosh. My voice is so great, you think I should do a silent prayer. Dear Jesus, forgive Jeffrey Epstein. Dear Jesus, forgive Jeffrey Epstein. Dear God, Father Almighty of the sinners, dear God. I wish I could understand the bidet in English. Nice singing. Baby, somebody claps. What is the bidet? You mean the bidet? Oh, are you talking about the skibidet? The skibbity? The skib the bidet? You're talking about the extra toilet? I'm sure the crows will gather at your voice I'm sure the crows will gather at your voice in a moment. Dad is back. Oh Father, Hezekiah the Father, Manasseh. You know why church services have gotten longer? I'm going to tell y'all why they've gotten longer. They're trying to show that there's a need for church services. And that's why they sing in church and make the church services longer now. And that's why the Catholic Church does that too. They have all-day church services. And they sing. So, I mean, I could have been done with this first chapter in Matthew right now. And I'm only at verse 11, and I've been on here for 8 minutes now. I should have been through the whole thing. If I was reading it the normal way instead of singing it, I would have been done by now. Now, I wouldn't recommend singing lullabies to your children. Lullaby up in the cradle. Lullaby, rock-a-bye, baby, she falls. Rock-a-bye, baby in the tree. The branch breaks, and down to the sea. The baby, it cries by the side of the water. The baby, it cries all night and all day. Wah, wah, oh baby. Is that what you wanted? Let me check your history. What history is that? Oh baby, wah, 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 wah. Oh baby, wah, 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 wah. Oh, okay. I'm just doing the kind of church service that I think it should be done. I mean, we've got to have children's church, don't we? We got to do a, I didn't even put that on there, but, I mean, the kids learn how to do the Rosary Chant too, right? Okay, you have blood in your ears because my singing was so bad. Oh, I am so sorry. They were cleaned. Okay, you got your ears cleaned out. Is that because my singing was so bad that you had bloody ears? Just be glad my singing wasn't so bad that you had a bloody stool, because that could have happened. I mean, the doctors. Do you want me to tell you why the doctors ask everyone if they have a bloody stool? Um, and I think I'm funnier than those guys on TV. I really do. And I'm not even paid to be funny, but it's just because I'm just a human being and I do stupid things. Um, but I'm going to rationalize this. I know we're not supposed to make sense of things, but I'm going to rationalize and I'm going to tell you why when you go to the doctor's office in the United States, they ask men if they've ever had a bloody stool. And most people put no. And when they talk about a stool, that was an appropriately politically correct word for as in poop. They ask if you've had a bloody stool. Now, but it can be taken out of context. So you guys remember this the next time you go to the doctor, that women will have a bloody stool and the stool will be bloody during the woman's menstrual cycle. Um, and so I don't know how old anybody is in here, but these are things that I learned about and the boys learned about when we were in grade school, that women have a menses is what it was called, and shed blood from the woman's body. I think we were in the third or fourth grade when we started doing the puberty classes and things like that. And the teachers were teaching us about I mean, this was things way, way above our head, even though I didn't realize that 2 years later, anyway. And so when the doctor's office asks you if you had a bloody stool, men can safely say yes if they've ever been married. Their wife had a bloody stool, so the men should say yes at the doctor's office. I think you dress white color, I'm right. I don't have any white clothing as far as that goes. Oh, I might have a shirt maybe. But I'm not, what do you mean white color? I don't just wear white clothes because they get dirty really easy. And white is one of the worst colors to wear because of the fact that it gets dirty and the stains are hard to get out of the clothes. And so even though I like wearing the color white and light colored clothing, and any t-shirt that's light colored, like yellow, green, lime green t-shirts, lime green, lime blue, lime red, ones that have the green in them, because a lot of the colors of the rainbow. Tell me your dress color. I don't have a dress on. I'm not wearing a dress. Do you think I'm wearing? Oh, the dress that, you mean the one when I'm getting out of the stagecoach? The stagecoach video that I made not too long ago, when I'm getting out of the stagecoach. Hang on a second. Let me look and see. Oh, purple. Getting out of the yellow submarine. Is that what one we're talking about? That dress was purple, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that dress was purple. And let's see. Yeah, that's been and we've got the pipes, the gray dress of fashion modeling home improvements. What happened to, yeah, there's the dress. Oh, that one was really pretty. The skit of the purple dress. I'm a big thief. What do you mean I'm a big thief? What do you mean by that? I'm a big thief of what? I don't know what you're talking about. And why you're calling me a thief for what? I'm not part of them. If that's what you think, I'm not part of that group. I know you're a big thief. No, I'm not taking things, that's for sure. Now I could start doing the battle cry of Tell you secrets of what? What kind of secrets are you looking for? Secrets for, are you looking for secrets of getting views on the internet? I mean, right now it kind of seems like if I would have been doing what was popping through my head um, over 3 years ago, I probably would have been over a million views by now. And if I would have just kept my original YouTube channel intact, um, my mom is not living. My mom is not living anymore. Um, and my dad is in assisted living. So you most likes, you mean the secrets of what I liked or who I liked? Are you talking about, are you talking about someone specifically? Did you have someone specifically in mind? What secrets do you want to know about? That's me what? What are you talking about? Are you talking about like a person or something? Can you call your dad? I want to, yes. No, I can't call my dad. No. He is not going to go on a live stream. Um, well, I probably could call him. I don't know. I could call and see how he's doing. But I'm not going to do it on a live stream, though. I'm just not going to do it on a live stream. It has been a while since I've talked to him, but I can do it by myself as far as that goes because I'm not doing it on a live stream. No, no, that's not that. That's something that other people do. I'm not going to do that because typically when they do that on live streams, they have permission with the other person before they actually go on the live stream, and so they're part of that group of people who have all been given free phones. Can I talk to him? He is very good. I don't know what you're talking about. Calling up my dad and you want to talk to him. I have no idea what you're talking about related to that. After the exile to Babylon, Babylon. Well, did you know Babylon actually is Babylon? It's spelled Babyylon, so baby is in there. My dad is very busy. Well, he is? Are you talking about the dad that I was married to? You're talking about the dad. I was married to a man who treated me like his kid. Oh Jesus, that man was a pervert. Oh Jesus, he should be in jail. Oh Jesus, a husband who's shitty to wife. That man, he needs to go straight into jail forever and bury him under the jail. Oh, bury him under the jail. That's wrong. Why is that wrong what I sing? When you have a husband who treats you like a child and he does the things that he did, he needs to be buried under the jail. After all, he always was saying that about his people. Oh, oh, it's us. They're after us. They're always after us. If we do it wrong, they arrest us. We can't get away with that. We'll be buried, oh, under the jail. They're always after us. Why? Some peoples are asleep and I'm singing. Well, I mean, are you like putting me on a megaphone somewhere so the people who are sleeping have to hear me singing? Is that what you're doing? I mean, if you're putting me on a megaphone or on a speaker or something like that and they're sleeping and then they have to hear me singing, I mean, then that's not my fault. Oh, you're doing that. You're literally. Why do I have a feeling I know where you're doing that at? Um, oh, dear God, I don't want to be buried under the jail. Dear God, dear God, don't bury me under the jail. My fault here, sing. Oh, it's your fault. Dear. Oh, okay. His mother Mary was pledged to be married to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. Because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace. He had in mind to divorce her quietly. But after he considered, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, son of Jeffrey Epstein. Joseph took a trip to Epstein Island with Mary, but Jeffrey said they had no room at the inn. So Jeffrey filled his mansion with sheep and elephants and monkeys and bears. So Jeffrey was a bit crazy, thinking he might be Noah. Jeffrey was having a zoo on Epstein Island in his house and collecting the animals in his mansion. And there was a lot of poop on the floor. Okay, stop. You said stop singing. Some people, you're running or I'm ruining the song. Well, if it's a song that I made up by myself, how can I ruin a song that I made up by myself? I made a song about Jeffrey Epstein, and he was having a moment of collapse in his brain. And so on Epstein Island, Jeffrey had filled his house full of animals, because there was not, he wanted a place so the animals could stay nice and out of the sun. And so he just opened up his mansion, and he had animals inside of his mansion. He was like, Jeff, wouldn't it make sense? Because Michael Jackson did the same thing, and he had a zoo on Neverland. And I mean, I'm really surprised instead of well, actually, land is an island. Epstein Island, Michael Jackson Neverland. Epstein land is in, so it makes sense that Jeffrey probably would have had animals on his island, that he was keeping there, just like Michael Jackson. Wouldn't he have? And so, I mean, and probably for the winter time, at the holiday, I'm sure that Jeffrey would have set up a manger for Mary and some camels. I mean, I would imagine that on Epstein Island, there were camels in Jeffrey's mansion on the island, Epstein Island. Okay, I'm singing my rosary to Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know why, but I thought, okay, we have nothing else. It's a slow news cycle. We have absolutely nothing to really talk about. So I'm just going to hit it in here with the trend. That's what I'm doing. Now, I'm not really good at clickbaiting anything. I'm not good at that at all. What the hell are you on about? I'm on about a roundabout circle. Oh, amen. This prayer is too long. Pastor, would you be done right away? Your breath stinks, your breath stinks. Oh, Pastor, your breath stinks, your breath stinks, your breath stinks. Oh, Pastor, your breath stinks. Bless Ozzy Osbourne, may his soul reach where it needs to go. Oh, Ozzy passed away now, and Sharon is alone. She is singing Anybody's Anybody Stop Me. Is there a song, Anybody Stop Me? Well, I mean, I don't know. The circle of life. I'm gonna come. You're not gonna. I don't have a house. I don't have a house. So, now, I mean, I'm not someone who. I was never successful in this business. So since I'm not successful, this should be a projection for the future of the people who are leaving Hollywood and coming on the internet. It really should, because they're not going to be successful either. They keep saying they know it should work, but they're delusional. Because if it didn't work for YouTubers have a very short shelf life. It's not going to work for Hollywood either. They think it should work because they know they've been doing the one topic only, and they were on the internet pounding that out for the first 20 years of YouTube. And it's not going to work. I mean, that's kind of why Disney has gotten in trouble, and Fox News is sort of getting in trouble too. The legacy media is getting in trouble for that very reason, because of the fact that they are more about clickbait and getting people to watch them, but they've projected that onto the internet. And, so those of us who naturally want to do things that are a little bit different on the internet, we've been trying to, but when we do something different or say something different, we kind of just don't get any views. So, if I want to follow along, I have to do pastoring right now, even though it's unconventional pastoring that I do, because I'm not that into it. I'm not that into it. Oh God, I don't believe in you. Oh God, I don't want to pray. Oh God, I'm singing my day away, just singing my day. Oh, I'm going to tell you some. Singing your day away? Okay, you sing very well. Give me a gift kiss. I, um, what's a gift kiss? I don't know what that is. I have no idea. You want me to sing? Okay. Okay, 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 oh. Ha ha, your lips. I can't kiss you. I can't kiss you. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's stop this. Oh, you mean you want me to stop singing with but I can't kiss you. Are you I don't know who you are or what the heck you're talking about. Are you talking about like that video I did? Wait a second. Oh, kissing the tarmac. In fact, I did a parasitic head right before kissing the tarmac. You have a reason for going live. You want to talk about something. I tried to talk about things. I can't even do it anymore. When I start talking about things, I did that on my original channel and I lost viewers. I lost viewers because I was talking about real life things. And we were being encouraged to talk about things that were different. This part I will talk about because it's part of the psychology of entertainment and media. And so we were being encouraged to do different things by our coaches on YouTube. Because we had some Google coaches and people who were actually hired by Google to kind of coach us to do things what we wanted to do and do things that were different. 100 kiss. Do you have a reason for going live you want to talk about? I've tried to talk about things, but it just doesn't work. And the thing is that if I'm talking about things or what I really want to talk about, I don't need some 8-year-old kid calling the police on me because they've been coached by their teacher to call the police on people on the internet, and that's a big problem now. Oh, my singing gift? I'm really not that great of a singer. I sang when I was in high school, but I always knew I loved singing though. What I was going to tell you about, what was I going to say about, church. Okay, this is what I figured out about church. I need to share this with you before I forget. Church, I think with church, back in the day, because they always mention Lord and the kings and things like that, I think that the kings from back in the day were mocking the people who had nothing with church. And so they overheard the people who were starving and struggling, and I think they started mocking them. I really do. So I think church in and of itself is a big troll of society that in the United States has actually gone in a direction of people taking it seriously related to the belief system. But I actually think that the kings and the jesters and the leadership from back in the day, they were making fun of the people in their society who had nothing and who were dying, and they were asking for help, and they were outside of their gates pounding on the door. So it kind of goes back to that scene in Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz, where her and the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion are pounding on the door of the Great Wizard, and he's telling them to go away. So then he starts making fun of them and saying, and then he's like listening, he's like, okay, I feel sorry for you. And so they open the door and let Dorothy and her friends go in and ask the wizard for everything that they want. Well, then Toto, nosy little Toto, the bad dog, goes over and pulls the curtain back and realizes it's that little peon man there who is making something look bigger than what it really is. So he has a projector screen of a wizard and fire, and then Toto pulls the screen back and sees, and so that's the same premise as God. The Wizard of Oz is sort of, so they're just making fun of people. That's all they're doing. That's all Hollywood is doing. That's all church is doing. And I'm not sure about government. Government, I think, does its fair share of mocking. And that's very popular when you think about the jets, the military jets and Mach 1. But then we also have mocking, which is making fun of people. That's the wrong think you talk. Yeah, one person disagrees, someone else agrees. And so and I get made fun of related to the homophones in the English language. Now, I think homophones, well, we have so many words. I still don't have them all memorized because I know I learned them in school. But these are words that are spelled differently but pronounced the same. And then we have words that are spelled the same but have different meanings. So with the homophones, you can learn a lot. If it's something that you want to understand with how media is working, um, it's in the homophones. It's in the wordplay. And I've been saying this for the past 10 years. You were just on this guy's channel. Yeah. And the promotions and networking. You're absolutely right because, like, okay, so for example, when you look at the legacy media, which legacy, I'm using that word in terms of old media. So it's the old style of media. They're always promoting someone's book, they're promoting a celebrity. Now the government I don't think has bad intentions. I think the government does things. They have to appear to be serious in some instances when they put in the government trolls. And I'm going to tell you, I'm pretty positive the government has trolls. I am almost positive 100% or 1,000% the government has trolls and hacks that go on TV, and you are not going to know who they are. No one is going to know who they are. They might even be famous people. I don't know for sure, but they might be famous people. And they'll put them on TV because they're undercover, covert entertainers, is what they are. I think there's even entertainers in church. I think there's entertainment pastors that could be government covert operators. You know, so, and so, but the other thing, I am a Bronner 90s. I think you're not this generation, I know, but you grow in the You think I'm from the 1920s? Well, if you want to learn about things, go back to the 1920s. Now, you have kids from the millennial generation and from Generation X and from Generation Y and Z who are willing to study about entertainment. And so they might have some better insight to how it works at an earlier age than what I did. Now, with myself, I was just taking the natural route before I got into YouTube. I was just taking the natural route and seeing things repeat generation after generation. Now, my dad had actually told me, but you grow in 20s. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes, in your 20s, you continue growing taller. Your bodies, human bodies are not done growing in the age 20s. So people continue to grow taller even in their 20s. So the human body is not done maturing until a person is in their 20s. And so I've always made the case of it, right now we have age 18 for adults. And I've been thinking that if the United States wants to get a little bit better, if they want to keep kids at home a little bit longer with their parents, that they could actually have free college for kids up until the age of 22 or 23 or something like that, and then the kids could stay home. So now parents might not like that idea. Um, but as long as the kids are taken care of and the parents are taken care of, then that would mean that kids don't feel as much pressure to feel like they have to go out and get a job because they're still maturing. They're still very immature. Females mature before men. He's to blame for a lot of things. Men around 27. You talk, ha 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 ha. You heard of Aleister Crowley? I have not heard of Aleister Crowley. No, I have not, but I will look up and I'm going to look right now and see who Aleister Crowley is. Aleister, let's see, Alist. You're right, though. You're absolute. Oh my gosh, he looks creepy. I hope I'm not offending anybody. He looks. Oh, he passed away in 1947. He was born in 18. Oh, how interesting. 1875. Aleister Crowley. How do they have a picture of him back then? I didn't even think we had film back then, but in the 1800s we got film? Good grief. We had technology. We probably had, it's probably just been withheld from us. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Now, someone had said something, okay, well, he's the father of Satanism. Yes, it's true that females do mature faster than males do. Now, and little girls are actually, most of the time, little girls will follow instructions and, try to be good. If you have a parent that is really, really hard on the little girls, and so my parents were hard on me and my sister. Sometimes they were quite a lot too hard on us, but they were trying to protect us because they were hearing all this stuff on TV. Um, he's the guy all the music industry pays homage to. A song, Hotel California, about one of his houses. I had no idea who Alistair Leicester. Oh, that's almost like Lester. Alester. It could be pronounced Aleister Crowley. Alistair. I'm not sure exactly how. The Macrobee Aleister Crowley, the great beast of 666. Aleister Crowley was an English occultist, ceremonial magician, poet, novelist, mountaineer, and painter. He founded the religion of Thelma, identifying himself as a prophet entrusted with guiding humanity into the Aeon of Horus in the early 20th century. Huh, that's kind of interesting. Well, and the thing, also known as a SRGT prepper, your voice, Cardi B, the same voice, check. Oh, my voice to Cardi B. I have really not listened to Cardi B, but my voice is pretty much the same as it was when I was in high school. I was placed in as an alto. My mom was an alto also when we did chorus. And so my mom was an alto with church and when she did chorus with school. And so when I did choir with school, I was an alto. And it was, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Because I heard all the other people singing soprano, which I could do those notes. I liked the harmonizing. With alto, you got to learn harmonizing. And so for a while I was thinking, gosh, it would be fun to sing the soprano, but I really loved the harmonizing. So I harmonize with myself now, making the videos that I do, and I make short I make short music videos, really short music videos, and I kind of make them fun. I do use technology. I've been very, very transparent about that I am doing mixed media. I'm not AI. I'm a real human being, and YouTube knows I'm a real human being because I've sent them my real identification. It's my real identification that I had attached to my original YouTube channel when I was monetized, so they know exactly who I am. High school. Yes, high school was. Um, I loved singing in choir, and the only reason I had to drop choir was because of my curriculum. I mean, so there was the arts is the part that I liked. If I could have gone to high school my whole high school and middle school, I would have gotten straight A's if I would have been able to take art class, which was doing pottery and beads and painting and even singing and playing band. That would have been my curriculum. That's right where I was at in school. I didn't want to do math or English. I didn't want to do that stuff because it was boring. History was boring. But now for me, do you want me to make history a little bit more interesting right now? Okay, tell me a person from the past. You're asking if I'm married? Asking me if I'm married. Pick one person from the past. I am indigenous and I am Indian to the United States of America. And so we have a disagreement with the Indian people from their country. I mean, they're Muslim, and Pakistan and India are split. They're a split country. I guess because of their religious beliefs. Um, I'm not a royal person though either, or a king or queen of anything. I've never been a royalty. Now, if there is, let me see. I was gonna make some history interesting. Pick a name. Oh, Princess Diana. Okay. You, okay, let's look up something on Princess Diana. Princess Diana. Diana. Princess Diana. Okay, so we'll make a little bit of history interesting. I'm going into Wikipedia. Um, yeah, everybody, well, I wanted to take something that was really, really boring. I never thought that the royals were boring, though, because they always had something going on. Okay. Diana, Princess of Wales, born Diana Frances Spencer. What? Oh, wait, this is an aha moment right here. Jeannie Francis. She was married to Luke Spencer. Oh. Oh, this is a big aha moment. This is more of the connection. Okay, Jeannie Francis was married to Luke Spencer, and at that time, General Hospital was really, really popular. You're talking some 30 ages and 37 ages. You talk. Yes, strategism. India. And so there's the networking connections in words as well, and related to the countries around the world. And so I don't know. So between the United States and the United Kingdom, now the United Kingdom back in the 1980s, I remember getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch Princess Diana get married because that's when they put the show on. It was at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was still in high school, I think. What? Yeah, it was summertime. So not when? What year did they get married? Okay. When did they get? 1981. 1981 was when they got married. So I think I it must have been that summer in 1981. So I was just graduated from high school. I didn't have much to do. And then it happened to be a day that I wasn't working, either that or I worked later in the day. So I got up at 4 because they were like, oh, it's once in a lifetime thing to watch the Prince of Wales and his bride, the princess, get married. And so I thought, well, why not get up at 4 o'clock in the morning? You're creating any topics. Alan Partridge. Oh, the Partridge Family. David Cassidy. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids. David Cassidy. Any of the outlaws from back in the day, too. And when I call them the outlaws, the Wild Wild West outlaws, whose uh, pictures were on a T-shirt. So they took the outlaws from back in the day and they put Bat Masterson was an outlaw from back in the day. Bat Masterson. Um, there was a bunch of them. I remember going out west, like to South Dakota, with my grandma and grandpa, and my mom and dad. They did drive us out one weekend for a weekend trip to South Dakota. It was a short trip, and we went to the uh, Mount Rushmore. And they're always selling the T-shirts of the outlaws who ran around on the Wild West. So it was a thing for them. They had outlaws. Now, nobody knew if these people really had committed crimes or not, but they sold a lot of T-shirts, that's for sure. Do I remember what you're doing when she passed? Um, okay, you're creating Alan Partridge. Do I remember what you were doing when? Are you talking about my mom? When my mom passed away, what I was doing? I was laying down. If that's what you're talking about. When I was laying down when my mom passed away, and I just found it kind of ironic because I was feeling really, really bad. And I was laying down on the bed, and I think it was about 10 o'clock in the morning. And I just had this feeling overcome me, and I thought my mom is gone now when she died. And then it was maybe about 2 hours, or it was right about noon. My dad called me and he said, Mom died this morning. She's gone. And so he had told, oh, what I was doing when Princess Diana died. Oh, you're talking. I'm getting confused because someone earlier was asking about my mom. And um, but the thing is, I kind of knew though, because my dad had told me that my mom was going to pass away, because he said she was in hospice, and so it sounds so cruel the way that they do it because of the fact that they don't give them any heroic measures. They make them comfortable, but they don't give them any heroic measures, which means that they know there's a limited time of life left. So people have that option and that choice when they know that they're passing away in age. They can opt and choose to say, I don't want to be put on life support. So when you're 80 years old, you have that option to say, okay, I recognize it's time for me to pass away here soon. And so basically it sounds to me like it's starvation. But I was living in Germany when Princess Diana passed away. I was living in Germany. Let's see here. Princess Diana. And you also got Princess Cruises too. The Princess Cruises. And so August 31st of 1997. So I was on the computer actually. Mine was unexpected until I still feel it coming. It's a few times, unfortunately. Give me water. You know the feeling. Diana, you know the feeling. Dirty Diana. Dirty Diana. Goodbye, England's rose. Goodbye, England rose. Let's see. And Elton John said he was only going to sing that once. Goodbye, England rose. Let's see here. Candle. 'Cause you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the wind set in. I can't taste any when you get very old. The last sensation is usually cold. A lot of last meals and will be ice blocks. You can't taste anything. Now, I've spent the majority of my life not being able to taste things. Um, I mean, I'm not. Mine was unexpected, and I still could feel it coming. Oh, give me water. So they give a person who's passing away, they give them water, and that's about it. Just until the point that they expire. I mean, there's really no nutrition in water. So the thing that I've seen is it's kind of like with animals, a person starts wasting away really, really fast at the point where it's about time for them to expire. And I saw that with a cat that I used to have. Taste does nothing for you. You're right that taste. Maybe losing taste is a good thing. Is that possible? Losing taste is a good thing. I mean, we can look at losing taste as a good thing because I always said, imagine this. If when I was young, I didn't learn about taste. If I didn't learn about taste and associate taste to food, that I would just be eating things just to nourish my body instead of based off of sugars and things that hit the dopamine system in my brain and then make me want more and more, trying to fill up my body with something that's not good for me. So I found some things, I'm not afraid to eat the same thing all the time. So I'm that person. I'm that weird person, and that's why. Yeah, you did get angel care for a while. I know I've heard of the last sensation you have is to feel the cold in your mouth. Yeah, you have the cold in your mouth forever once you die. The visiting home care angels, I always thought that was kind of strange, because I never got any care related to anything or anyone for any home health aid. And that's going to be very, very expensive if you overeat. Yeah. And so I was thinking, okay, imagine if, we have too many food choices. Am I the only one who's out of touch with this? That we have too many food choices in what is sold to us in stores? Because I was just thinking, I've thought about this for a long, long time, because when I got married to my first husband, he had a crapo fit because he was always saying he didn't like what I cooked. And so he got used to he got used to eating based off taste instead of nourishment. But the thing is, he was always he never had a weight problem either. I had a weight problem after I had kids. And, so weight for me was always a big thing. Yeah, that's what we're always told, bad choices, bad choices. It's like, okay, but it's at the same time, it's legal. Food is no different. Food is no different from beer and cigarettes. So we got food, beer, cigarettes. Food, beer, cigarettes. And then you got the salty food that's got a ton of salt in it. Now I don't like that food and there's a lot of canned chilies I found out here in the past 4 years that actually cause a lot of heartburn if you eat too much of it. You're very much of a taste person. Well, and even for me, there was a point I would eat lettuce. I didn't want to just eat lettuce all the time because lettuce is, even though it's good for you, it's roughage. There's nothing wrong with lettuce. But I had husbands who were like, no, I'm not eating that stuff. I'm a man. I'm a big man. I didn't get to be fat this way. I didn't get to be this big by eating that rabbit food. And so it was just like I tried to cook for both of them. Different marriages. I tried to cook. I really did. I tried the best I could. And I was just met with resistance every step of the way. And so when my first husband, he's the guy I had all my kids with, and which it and so anyway, there came a point that he would take my kids and go to McDonald's, and so he was training them that when he didn't like something that I cooked, that they could resist. So he was going against me, and so he would just go to McDonald's and get them a burger because he didn't like what I cooked. We had leftovers. He didn't want to eat it. We were eating beans. So I would buy a bag of beans from the commissary, and then I would have, and if I was lucky, I would have a tiny, tiny ham to put in the beans. But usually I just had some beans and onions. I'd cook them together, and I'd maybe put in a little bit of a bouillon cube to add a tiny bit of flavor, which a bouillon cube is nothing but salt. And so I would make a great big pot, and it would last for a while. And he didn't like it. He would eat a little bit of it, but then when I had it for all week, he would be, I'm tired of this. So when you think about taste instead of nutrition, instead of nourishing your body for survival, if you think of nourishing your body for survival, you might eat almost anything. And so that's kind of the premise of when you think about animals in the wintertime. The wild animals like bears, when they say that they eat all summer long, they get really fat, and then they sleep most of the winter, and they have a fat reserve, so they're not as chubby, or they lose weight because there's not as much food available to them because of the snow. Um, it could be a hard bit to handle eating the same thing for a week, for supper at night or dinner, whatever you call it, because I know some places call dinner at noon. In the Midwest, it's called dinner at noon, and some people call dinner at night. So I can't eat much if I eat bland foods. I don't mind bland foods. Actually, you know what I find? If I have to eat bland foods right now, bland foods actually help prevent swelling in my body, because right now I'm eating a lot of stuff that's processed, and the processed foods, most definitely, if they have salt in them, but because I can't read the labels. The labels, typically the stuff on there is too small, and I don't know how much salt is in something. When they put salt in there, you know what? Well, this is what I do. If I find out that a brand has a lot of salt in it, what I have to do is add water to it. So I will water things down. So if I end up with some chili or something that I have found, that I bought in a can, and it's given me indigestion or something like that, I will take that can. And now it's sold as a can ready to eat, that you don't have to add anything into it. Um, I'll take and water it down. On another note, I like a lot of rice too. I don't mind rice. I could eat rice every night as long as it's not heavy in salt. And I love rice. Actually, I totally love rice. So you get a little bit of white rice and some chicken and onions and green peppers, and just fry it up a little bit. And, so for myself, if I had a pan and I could actually cook in a real pan and have a stove, I would make myself rice, and it would last for it. I don't know how long it would last. I will eat rice for breakfast. What I just described. Sometimes I put tomatoes and stuff like that, a can of tomatoes or something like that. Now, garden fresh tomatoes, I mean, I could probably eat them in there. I mean, I wouldn't object to it. They just have different flavors. But oh my gosh, garden fresh tomatoes grown in the dirt are the best. Things like sardines and kippers. And clams. I totally love smoked clams. Oh, I love clams. Clams, sardines, kippers. That's good stuff. And the deviled ham, the tiny little cans of deviled ham, they are so good. I haven't, and they're expensive right now. Really, really expensive on Amazon. Yeah, I love the little snacks like that, and the little beanie weenies. I know my mom used to make she made a little, well, this was popular when, back in the 1990s, they were having all those Super Bowl parties and everything, and they got people engaged with TV. That's what they did when they got the American public engaged with football, and sports was really popular before the opposition came out. But the opposition, I kind of understood it as time passed. People get injured, but they had a beanie weenie dip, so they're encouraging people, getting them to go to the store to buy things they don't need. So there was this beanie weenie dip, and so you'd buy the little tiny, they sold little tiny wieners in the store. And so you put them in a little crock pot. So this was the era of Tim the Toolman Taylor on, and they were having all the Halloween stuff and the Halloween parties, and all of them would do the same Halloween type of thing. Roseanne Barr was popular. But so the little beanie weenie dip, then you'd put in a little bit of barbecue sauce and then some jam inside of it. And so they made like of some type of fresh homemade beanie weenie dip. So it was kind of, you put in the barbecue sauce and then a little bit of grape jelly, and make a sweet and sour type beanie weenie dip, and then you'd put your little beanie weenie on a cracker or something like that. I talk so funny. Are you guys, did you change my voice or something? Are you listening to my voice on the other end so that you have some type of device or something where you changed it and that I sound funny? Is that what you did? I mean, because I think that probably exists. So if I'm talking out to you and you have some type of voice synthesizer or something, and you're listening to it different, then maybe is that what you're listening to? Flatbread with cheese inside. Flatbread with cheese. Oh, they said Domino's Pizza is coming up. I did see a commercial about that recently. Now, Domino's Pizza has never had a stuffed crust. They said they're coming up with a stuffed crust. Butterfly, come your house. I don't have a house. I don't have a house. I don't have a house. I wish I did. And then the cheese ball. Have any of you had the cheese ball? Now the cream cheese ball is really good too. This is a favorite of mine that my mom made. Now I have to be careful with the cream cheese and not eat too much of it, but I love things that have cream cheese in it. Now I don't know if it's just my aging or if they're adding more salt into the cream cheese. Now I never paid attention when I was young, um, to if I would have had swelling or something. But I do know my dad had mentioned, it was when I was getting married to my first husband. I said something about having a pain or something going on, and he's like, yeah, you might have a little bit of swelling or something. I never looked at my ankles to notice what swelling would look like. Nobody ever pointed it out. But I was going to get a recliner one time, and a lady at the recliner store, she says, well, recliners are good if you got swelling to keep your feet up. Um, and, but the thing I noticed is even with keeping my feet up, keeping your feet up did not help with swelling. If you have a recliner, it did not help. And so it's the food. Too much of it causes problems. And it has me wondering, when I was a child, it has me wondering if I actually, my mom, oh, she was the best cook. I thought she was anyway. She made some of the best things in the world. But then at the same time, I was kind of thinking, well, could it have been, well, I'll just tell you this. So my first husband, he complained, and he said he wasn't going to eat things that had butter in it because he said butter wasn't that good for you. And so he said he wasn't really a sweet person, a person who eats a lot of sweets and stuff like that. Now, he was able to keep himself the same weight. This man was in the military, he was the same weight as he was when he got out. So when he joined, so he maintained the identical same weight. He's probably still the same weight as what he was in high school. I don't know how he did it, but he was able to maintain the same weight. And now he told me about his mom, though. I always thought it was kind of funny when he told me about his mom. He said his mom looks like she's 6 months pregnant all the time, which I thought was kind of funny. That's what he did. He said his mom looked like she was 6 months pregnant all the time. And she did say that. She said that she had a I guess, or she said she had a tumor in her belly, and so she had to have a hysterectomy. So, I mean, it's like there's a common thing. There's a common denominator of things going on related to hysterectomies. Hello, miss. Your hair is so beautiful. Ha ha. My hair? Are you talking about my corn husk hair? Let me see here. Are you talking about my corn husk hair? And did you see I swallowed the earth too? I know I love my hair. I look absolutely wonderful like that. Someone had told me I needed to do some FaceTime videos, and so I did. I made the green dog, and I did the corn husk hair. And oh, did you see my circle? I did the circle meditation cookie. And so I was meditating. I was going circle, circle, circle. And then I made the video, the carpenter ants on top of the world. Look, sitting on top of the world, looking down on creation. It's the only explanation I can find. That's all I can sing. And then I also I made Looking Through the Eyes of Love. Did you see my guy? I look so beautiful. I've got on love sunglasses, and I've got some fangs coming out of my mouth there. I did a YouTube trailer. Did you see my YouTube trailer that I did? It says, it's a big lying toe for some good old boys. And so now the thing that I'm seeing is, okay, it says YouTube trailer on it. It's on a flatbed. There's a great big toe, and the toenails are on the bottom of the feet. So I thought that was a pretty cool trailer right there. I mean, I always thought that when I heard that, I thought that's the coolest trailer I've ever seen right there. And then the dirty secrets of the retirement community. Oh my gosh, that apparently they're leaving their diapers inside of the swimming pool. That's what they're doing. And then we've got, do you want to look at my blue suede shoes at the ballpark? And I got 6 legs. I'm a giraffe walking around with 6 legs and some blue suede shoes at the ballpark and the football field. Ha 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 ha. 10 signs of a healthy body. Now just let us look at the emojis there. Look at little emoji there. Little old emoji. Now emoji has a fat little round. Emoji's kind of bad there, though. Emoji comes out as a troll. Haven't you seen that? Emoji, the troll? Good grief. Yes. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. But hey, wait a minute. Now, these little 2 guys here, we're going to put them up there in chat. Don't they look like little trolls, a little purple monkey? The Aussie song, a song about Aleister Crowley. Okay, let me see. The Aussie song about Aleister Crowley. I don't know what song that is. I'm going to look it up. OZZY song, Aleister, List, ALIST. You know what's funny is I actually, Mr. Crowley, Ozzy Osbourne's song, Mr. Crowley. I worked with a woman back when I was in high school, and her last name was Crowley, only it was pronounced Crowley. It could be Crowley or Crowley, but that was her name. I always thought that was fun because I realized over the years, it's like, well, my goodness sakes, she had a very, very popular name. And then I started looking at myself and I realized, my goodness gracious, your name has been very popular over the decades. The name you were given was very, very popular. And I'm not telling you what that is. I already did that. And I don't need the police to come knocking on my door again because someone is just being a jerk. Okay, let me see though if I can find the lyrics. Mr. Crowley. Let me see. Lyrics to Mr. I'm a slow typer too at times, even though I get accused of being fast. And the only reason I'm accused of being fast right now is because people who are trying to text, they had to slow down. Mr. Crowley, what went on in your head? Oh, Mr. Crowley, did you talk to the dead? Your lifestyle to me seems so tragic. With the thrill of it all, you fooled us, all the people, with the magic. Yeah, you waited on Satan's call. Mr. Charming, did you think you were pure? Mr. Alarming in nocturnal rapport, uncovering the things that were scared, manifest on this earth, all conceived in the eye of a secret they scattered at birth. Okay, I don't want to sing the whole thing because I think that someone else probably, even though it's a cover, what I'm doing right there is a cover. It's an a cappella cover. It might not be the best, might be out of tone a little bit. Actually, I can teach you guys how to sing songs that could be considered copyright. Well, you guys, I think a lot of you already know how to do that. You just do a little tiny, tiny bit and you mix them up into different, so you find yourself 10 songs. Find a verse in one song, a verse in another song, a verse in another song, and you've remixed it, haven't you? And you're singing it in your own voice, and that's what they always said. If you do something in your own voice, then it's not part of the original body of work, because a company can't just come along and say, okay, well, you sang part of our song. Well, what's the purpose of making a song to begin with if the reason isn't to sell copies and just make money out of thin air off the American public and people around the world? Otherwise, the music industry is just becoming a bank, isn't it? It's just becoming a bank. And so they're making money out of thin air for entertainment purposes. They're making fun of the American public. They're making fun of people. And so it's more of that leadership and elite cultist society. So they network amongst themselves while they exclude everybody else. And so this is what I'm talking about right now. My problems, they don't matter. I wasn't meant to break into things to to be able to benefit from at least a sustainable salary or some sort. That's all I wanted, was something sustainable. I never wanted to be famous. That was never my aspirations, to be famous. Now, I would if there was a calling for, a leadership position, like being president of the United States, as a first woman president of the United States, then maybe something like that. If not, let me do like Hillary and Kamala Harris. Let me be a hack. Okay, let me be a hack from YouTube where I have no face. Because you know what? This is my rationale, and I am so right about this. Now, the Supreme Court plays really dumb, like they don't know things. Okay, we have no laws that say I myself, as artificial intelligence, if I am or if I'm a real human. I've been accused of being artificial intelligence more than a human being. We have no laws on the books that say artificial intelligence can't be president of the United States. I want to be president of the United States. So if you guys think I'm artificial intelligence that much and you think artificial intelligence is that smart, I want to be president of the United States. And I want to run it from YouTube. I want to be president of the United States. But I don't know how well I would do actually, like just not actually exposing who I am. So if I got elected as president, I might have to come out and like show you who I am. And you're going to find out I'm a nobody. You're nobody called today. She hung up when I asked her name. Right? Right. Okay, should we go back to singing the Rosary in the Bible? When Joseph woke up, he did what the angel of the Lord commanded him. Took Mary home as his wife, but did not consummate their marriage until she gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name of Jesus. Oh Jesus, oh Jesus, amen. Now I'm just making this stuff up. Okay. Yeah, I'm just making this stuff up related to the tones. Okay, what chapter? Well, this one actually still made sense. Are you guys still convinced? I can take about 2 more seconds of the singing, says Stratum Gems, Gem Art. Let's be rational. Why would we think that? No, 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 no. Oh, wait a second. Let me get on some live chat here. Okay, I need to read through the comments here and see what I missed. Mr. 12 Gauge came back in, so we're giving you a shout out. If you're still not here, you're getting a shout out, Mr. 12 Gauge. Would have been a relative, lots of relatives. Yes, ma'am. The world is seeing behind the curtain. No too much singing. We can't have a singing president. I mean, I can't sing if I'm going to be president. Yeah, no, you're gonna tell me I can't sing and be president. And you know what? I think that you're probably going to see Donald Trump singing here soon. I have a feeling of that. Oh, no wonder. I always forget to put my chat on all. I do that. No, I didn't want to hide it. Gall darn it. Let's see here. How do I get it back up? Chat filter, all messages. I don't want them hidden. Okay. No wonder I'm missing my messages. I always forget to put up all messages. Okay. You don't want to hear Donald Trump singing? Well, that you have an impersonator on YouTube who has been impersonating Donald Trump already, and an AI impersonator. What song? I mean, what song would I want Donald Trump to sing? I don't know. I don't know. I think Donald Trump might have to sing Peaches by Jack Black, maybe. I'm not sure. Uh, Let me find Jack Black and Peaches. Uh, I think he's from Minecraft. Peaches. Hang on. And let me, I'm going to have to mute it for a second. I'm going to mute it for a second so I can hear what he's singing. I know I've heard the song a little bit. Didn't he pass out? I was thinking that Jack Black passed out on stage. I mean, he's got a big old roly-poly. He's a big old roly-poly guy. But apparently he has some talent because unless he's artificial intelligence, he's in the Super Mario Brothers, Jack Black is. I had no idea about Jack Black until about a year or two ago. That he's just a big old fat troll. That's all he is a big old troll. He looks to me to be kind of like Elton John a little bit. One of those guys. Hang on a second here. He has some talent, but he is still a bit evil. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, I have some talent too. I mean, I don't have all talent. I didn't steal all the talent, you know, but I get demonized as Cruella de Vil, a hateful lefty liberal woman. Now look at lefty liberal Jack Black there doing his dancing on the piano, and he's basically trying to hump his piano. He's a piano humper is what he is. Princess Peach, oh Princess Peach. And I can't even say peaches as fast as he says it, but he's. And I can't even say peaches as fast as. No, we don't want you on. He's like peaches, 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 peaches. I love you. Something like that, you know. I know I was off key a little bit, but it'd been a while since I'd heard the song. But once I rehearse it a little bit, I can, get the tones at least close. Not so appalling that it would have to be completely auto-tuned out like some of the other ones. So I'm just doing my own vocals most of the time. Peaches, 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 peaches. I love you. Oh, wait a minute. Why is Smooth Criminal up next right after Jack Black? Isn't that funny in this playlist that I just searched up here with Mario Brothers? Okay, it's Jack Black, Peaches official music video, The Super Mario Brothers, the movie. And then next is Michael Jackson, The Smooth Criminal. That's kind of interesting there. Oh, so you're saying that Jack Black he over sexualized the Super Mario Brothers? Yeah, he probably did. He probably did quite a bit. Um, I mean, because how can you? Well, yeah, but isn't this the side where YouTube ended up with all this content? And I had voiced this myself many years ago, and what I'd said is that I had said, what is all this kids content on here? And I didn't even factor in, okay, I knew of Disney, but I didn't factor in the public broadcasting. And so come to find out then when they defunded USAID, um, there's all this stuff and PBS and then the NPR. When they defund all of that, well, then I'm thinking, well, that's the problem right there. There's all these people, like that's the millions and the 5 million people network on YouTube, and they're looking out for their own job security, and they don't care about the rest of us who are independent. They sure don't. They're just looking out for their own jobs in media, not the rest of us. I don't know how they're going to do it now, because the people tend to gravitate towards what gets views. And I've mentioned this before. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now by naming what did I name my video? Holy Rosary. I used to call the Catholic Church the Holy Rollers. The Holy Rollers because Holy Rosary Chant is what it is. Because when they started having bingo, um, I was thinking they're gambling in the church. And that's what they were doing. They were holding bingo things, and so they were trying to keep up with inflation and raise some money in the church. And then they claimed they'd give it away to the people in the church. He had some talent, but he's a bit evil, over sexualized. What state are you in? Michigan. Minecraft was very bad. I liked Minecraft. I never come across anything in Minecraft I thought was bad, but I didn't get to play it that much. Now, what I did was I think I paid $12. I paid $12 for Minecraft to download it on the computer, which that didn't last very long because then I lost the computer because of some things that happened, some events that happened that was wrongful on the part that they did. And so I wasn't able to play Minecraft anymore. And so basically it was someone stealing my intellectual property is what happened. So in the series of things that happened to me, they stole my intellectual property from me on the computer out of my own house. That's what they did. And so, so that really hasn't been resolved. When we talk about First Amendment and First Amendment rights, and I'm not fond of the First Amendment auditors. I was just using the word as clickbait. I've always said this stuff all along. I've said that whenever I used a word, it was just for search engine optimization purposes, for clickbait. It wasn't for anything else. It was for no other reason. And, it shows how much of the First Amendment we really don't have on the internet now, does it? When people can just pick up the phone and say, oh, this person is a criminal. Or a mom has their kid do it because the mom doesn't want to do it. So they coach their kid into calling the police because the mom doesn't want to do it. But they're just tired of this person in their neighborhood. They just want to get rid of them because they can't seem to make it work for their own self, and so they're mad, and then they just get mad at this person who hasn't been able to get YouTube to work for them, and then they just want to call the police. Are you talking about a swatting event? Swatting and doxing? Absolutely, yes, that happened. Not on this channel, but on another channel. And unfortunately, swatting and doxing is something that's been common for YouTubers, that people have consistently called the police on YouTubers. But I wondered, though, if it was something that was, the thing that I always said related to that, I remember there was this young woman, what was her name? Rebecca Schaefer was her name. And they said this was like back in the 1980s when I was still in high school, I think. Or I don't know when exactly it was. Maybe I was an adult in the 1980s. I don't remember exactly. But Rebecca Schaefer, they were talking about how she was a young rising star in Hollywood. Nobody really knew who she was, and then some random guy came to the door and ended her life for absolutely no reason. And so it always had that stuck in my brain. It's like, well, why did that happen? Now, when I got onto YouTube, I started thinking, my thought process was, well, gosh, everybody can be on YouTube, so there's no reason for anybody to wear masks anymore or to pretend they're someone they're not. And there was even a woman on one of the news channels at one time, when we were talking about facial recognition, and she says, well, I can just put on a little bit of makeup and just completely change what I look like. And I'm not even the same person. That's what she was saying. And so it always had me thinking that Hollywood or someone was trying to secure their own job creation when they went on the attack against YouTubers. So when they call up the police and bully and intimidate people on the internet, people who are YouTubers, that they're purposely bullying and intimidating someone. And I never knew who called the police on me. That was the whole thing. And that's all they were doing, was calling the police on me because I was using words for search engine optimization. But if you have kids and you have school teachers, and at the time that I was using the words specifically for search engine optimization, apparently SEO has no First Amendment rights, because you're going to get these dumbasses and you're going to get the Karens who are like, oh, but it's a threat. It's like, you're full of fucking shit. Let's go to court, and I'm going to tell you, you're full of fucking shit. So what are you trying to do? You just want to knock me out and be shitty to me? Because, that's where I'm still at with it, because it pisses me off to no end. And so basically you got your gaslighting Karens who are coming across as the rich snobby bitches. These are the rich snobby bitches married to bankers, is what we're dealing with now. And the uppity women who are married to rich men and brokerage men, and the ones who literally they're living in mansions in the gated communities, and they want to say that so they're threatened by something else. They are the ladies I need to sell gemstones. Yeah, absolutely, yes. They're the ladies you need to sell gemstones to. And you need to sell the gemstones that are really $5 when you make them. You need to sell them to them for at least $25,000. Yeah, that's the ones. You need to sell gemstones to them. Because, you know what else they say too? You can't do that. I know. I was being facetious when I said it, because if you, I know you can't do that, because it's price gouging, but I've seen people paying thousands for fake nails. Really? Oh, you're talking about, well, that actually could be more money laundering, or it's two things. I sell real rare gemstones for a great price. You know what I was just thinking when you said people, money going for fake nails? You're talking about the fingernail videos where, yeah, $3,000 for a pedicure and nails. That's money laundering. That, to me, that what that means is someone is giving them money. So through the internet, the same thing can happen. So let's say you have a beauty shop, someone set them up in a beauty shop, and they're just giving them money into that shop, even though nothing's going on. So they're using a pedicure shop as a studio. I mean, okay, think of it like this. You can have closed, it's just like okay, do you remember let me see here. Is that fitness place Curves still in business? Curves. Let's see. Because you can set them up in a building, and I've seen that happen. Is it still in business? Still in business. So the pedicure and the manicure, okay, it says yes, it's still in business. But every time I looked at Curves, it was never in business. It wasn't ever open. So I just noticed this common denominator of all these shops that were never open, but they had signs on the door that said they were open. And so you go and look and say it'd say they're supposed to be open at 10 o'clock, but they're not open, or there'd be something on the door that says out to a medical appointment or something like that. So it's like, I mean, that's the shell game right there. So when you have a building that says, I'm just going to use a generic word, fitness center, So a generic word says fitness center. It says open from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. But then if you go there every day, and so let's say you don't have a membership, but it's just something you notice. You're a courier or something, or a mail person delivering mail, and you notice that this building is supposed to be open. It doesn't have anything that says it's gone out of business. But at the same time, there's a note on the door that says gone to lunch, gone to a medical appointment. They're always closed all the time. The staff is sick. That's money laundering right there, because that's money laundering, and that's the shell game. So they have these buildings that are, the facade and the front is dressed up as though it's a real business. There's probably storage in the back, so they probably never have anybody inside of the building ever. um, because it's really not something that's sustainable. And so you can do the same thing on YouTube too. Not YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. You can do the same thing on YouTube, on the internet. Oh, easier, because the thing is, on YouTube, you make a couple of videos or something, a little bit of activity, and you can run as much money through as you want to. And then because it's 1099 and designated under tips, Trump took away that, so you don't have to pay the tipped gig economy. You don't have to pay anything now. He said there's no taxes on that money. So you could be, with YouTube, you could be making $20,000 a year, not 20, a month. I didn't mean a year. Well, you could make 20,000 a year. That sounds reasonable if you want to avoid an audit from the Internal Revenue Service. But I'm going to say 20,000 a month. And they could just run that money through. And there's people who are going to say, oh, well, Donald Trump told us that we don't have to pay tips, and our money is on the 1099 form in tips. We don't have to pay taxes on that money. Even though you're making $20,000 a month, that's a lot of money. He says also the car market is used. Yes, I agree with you. The car market is used for money laundering. Absolutely, I agree with you on that. These old shit cars going for hundreds of thousands when they're pieces of crap. And how about the art world? I don't think could be used for the art world has always been used for money laundering. Absolutely it is. And right now on YouTube, not YouTube, the internet, the combination of the two of them together, because they'll put someone on YouTube in a live stream. And the thing is, I think at one point they probably didn't want to be on the live stream. Now I've noticed in the art community a lot of people are using very similar videos. They will do voiceovers on them, but they're getting stuff from somewhere that someone else has done, and then they put it on their channel. So it's basically like the same person, it looks like, but then they're recycling the content. Yeah, the PDFs and the digital art, yes. And the same thing with the patterns, the art patterns. So they're selling digital art through the internet. Um, they're selling art and patterns through the internet, and they're getting a lot of money for that. So it's just basically like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be a placeholder on the internet. So it's kind of the same thing with the planned unit developments and the home associations and those types of communities, the property management companies. So you might have a couple of people in there. I'm a placeholder for this community. Same thing on the internet. I'm a placeholder. These are two analogies that are real. Because on the internet, we have digital assets, digital properties, and there's a lot of commonalities between the usages of money laundering and how things happen. So you can have a planned unit development, and there's maybe 5 or 6 people living in the whole thing, but you have 1,000 houses that are just sitting there empty. Well, you know what? You look at all that money you can launder through there, especially if you bring people from other countries. And you have them, so you're saying they're staying in Airbnbs and they're visiting. And so you got all these migrants. And you know what? For plausible deniability purposes, it's best that they don't speak English, because then they're not going to know anything about the money laundering going on. It's best they don't speak English because you don't want them to know what's going on. So you hire them. You pay them well. You can pay them well. You take care of them well because you want them cleaning your place up really well and taking care of you. So you take good care of them, make sure they have a safe place to eat, that they're happy, they're around their family, and so you just want them doing their work, and you don't want them to know that they're part of the money laundering game. And it's the same thing with building the houses too. Yeah, to keep them quiet. It's and so you can, so in the meantime, you tie in the gated communities and then the non-gated communities that are in the planned unit developments. You tie them in with the internet too, and TV. Absolutely, you tie the two of them in together. So you keep these folks in these mansions because there's American citizens who are in the mansions. But the people who are part of Hollywood have become very pissed. And I can tell a lot of them are pissed off because when they start to speak out about things, then Hollywood drops them and just cuts them off altogether. I think that's why some of them like YouTube. And I mean, I understand what they're talking about because I know enough about how Hollywood works, even though I've never been in it. It's like, okay, I'm all ears. I'm listening to you guys' stories, your horrific stories that you've told us. I think Bobby Brown was the one who said that. He said that they were used. They went out on tour. They did they made a lot of money for the industry. And he said when they were done with them, they just took them back to the hood, dropped them off with a VCR and $500. And I'm like, well, that's kind of messed up right there. If I was an attorney, I would be questioning what happened to them right there because someone exploited those young men and into trafficking into the devil and the satanistic rituals of Hollywood, but yet Reverend Al Sharpton is completely quiet on that issue. I mean, we've heard about it. Bobby Brown talked about it and he's still famous. I mean, nothing, he's not gone to prison or anything like that. He never went to prison for his drug charges or anything like that, or that he could have been a contribution to his wife Whitney's death. But, besides that, yeah, keep them quiet. Now, and that's why they want to use the migrants now, because you keep them quiet because they don't know English. They don't know any English at all. They're not going to figure out what's going on in the United States. So that's why the banking industry has kind of gravitated towards migrants instead of Americans, because Americans talk too much. So the bankers know, they absolutely know that American citizens are pissed off at inflation. That's the only way the bankers can make more money and keep things inflated, and they can keep their narrative going. It ruins the narrative of real estate developers and bankers if we keep talking about and saying that we have inflation and that the bankers and they're causing it on purpose. When we say that these retail organizations are causing inflation on purpose, they get mad. But they are doing it. Where do they expect the money to come from? You know where they expect the money to come from? They expect the money to come from the government. They want the government to print more money or something, or use cryptocurrency or so. I'm not quite sure what they're doing, but it's not going to work. It's going to collapse. And keeping all the money in cryptocurrency, it's just going to collapse because it's like you've got a cryptocurrency side with all these rewards points. And I know there was a congressman who said something about if you think of rewards and things like that, that is money. If a company uses rewards and so they give someone free nights, or are they getting reimbursed? Are the rewards points being used for money laundering? That's the things I ask myself. So is the rewards points being used for money laundering? Stratagems Gem Art says, so I'm currently procrastinating going live on here. Do you have any advice beforehand? Well, I mean, YouTube, we have limited. I would use the camera masking. So you can shut your camera off, so you can just do it as a podcast. So if you're not comfortable going in front of the camera, if that's something you want to do. You can't mask yourself though, unless you go in front of the camera and you've put if you put on a wig and makeup and stuff like that. If that's what you're going to do, then I don't know how you're going to do that. This won't work, the strategy. What strategy are you talking about that won't work? But the advice for someone is, do not, this is what I'll tell you, Stratum Gems, don't tell your location at all. I want to do Q and I was going to show my face. You want to do Q&A, so your questions and answers. People are going to ask you a lot of personal questions. Don't be afraid to tell them it's none of their business. A lot of them are kids. I found that it seems like to me the majority of the people on the internet are kids, young kids, and from foreign countries, anywhere from the age of like 8 years old on up, so, but I wouldn't tell anybody my location at all, And the thing is don't be afraid to lie and tell them you're someplace else where you're really not at, Also, gem cutting on stream. Oh, cutting gemstones? I have watched gemstone videos of where they're, oh my gosh, I love watching those videos of rock tumblers and cutting the rocks and things like that. I mean, any video can be used for money laundering. All my information is very available. Oh, so you might be a real business. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you're going to get the same questions asked over and over and over again. So much to the point that you think it's spam due to me owning a business. Yeah, you're going to, one thing that YouTube had told us was that a lot of business creates a story about their business. And so that's kind of, now when they say they create a story about their business, that's kind of like Colonel Sanders. He had a little story about his business. Colonel Sanders came from a time where we didn't have as much TV. We didn't have too much information. Right now we're in the too much information era, of a lot of information. And people are just talking about basically rambling on YouTube, because the thing is it's like this, and then the sponsors pulled out because of PewDiePie. And so PewDiePie made a anti-Semitic statement, and then all the advertisers pulled out. But I think that PewDiePie was actually a hack to try to take YouTube down. And so, because all the advertisers pulled out, so they're saying, oh, well, we don't want to put our stuff on YouTube. So then that kind of put the advertisers back into legacy media, and that was right at the time just before COVID, or right at COVID. What year? Let me see what year was Adpocalypse. And for a while I was getting censored with that. I'm not anymore, it doesn't seem like. What year was LYPSE? What year was Adpocalypse? 2017. Yeah, right before COVID. So Disney set themselves up. You're prompting a shill. So Disney basically set up it's almost like they had orchestrated and were participating in the pandemic and setting up to try to take down YouTube by using PewDiePie as a hack to say something anti-Semitic, and then they made a big deal about it, and then the advertisers pulled out, because that's something that we were always told about on YouTube. And they were telling us, they're like, oh, well, if you don't like the advertising on your videos, you can contact the advertiser and tell them what people are doing on the videos, and then the advertisers will pull out. And it's like, well, I really don't want to do that, because on my videos, I don't want to do that, because it's like that's how we earn our revenue, was through advertising. And then there was all these hate videos about block this, block your advertising. Well, the thing is you can't block your advertising because it doesn't matter how much you say block advertising. There's still product placement inside of the videos. And so so the people who are actually a real business, they're going to have to do their own advertising right now. And we get a lot of stuff from foreign countries, so we get advertisements from foreign countries, like from Pakistan, the Middle East, from Australia, places that we will never visit. You're proud and ashamed, Mr. 12 Gauge. What are you proud and ashamed of? You're proud and ashamed at the same time. Okay, so I just happened to see this. The Department of Justice fires U.S. Attorney for New Jersey after the state picks her over ex-Trump lawyer Alina Habba, or whatever her name is. Um, so that's kind of interesting that that woman got fired and they wanted to put in Alina Habba instead. So I mean that right there, that's influencing. So when you fire someone, that violates hiring rights right there. So they had someone else that they put in, and Trump wanted Alina Habba put in instead. I'm wondering how well, so it's just like they're still doing that thing of wanting to go to court all the time. And that's how Trump got elected president, was using the court system. And apparently he's still using the court system. Um, and related to wanting to put that woman in instead of the woman who was elected in as Attorney General for New Jersey. The council replacing our flag with a trans flag is just a stab in the neck, if you ask me. Well, I mean, I get that, living near a sanctuary city, because the sanctuary city where I'm near has used the rainbow flag as well, and they replaced the American flag with the rainbow flag. They're not even using the state flag even. They just replaced the American flag with the trans flag. They did that, and it's disgusting. The mayor should be fired and he should be sent to jail as far as that goes for it is brain rot. Yeah, absolutely brain rot. Replacing the flag with a trans flag. And I mean, because then that's the agenda they're pushing, is instead of something that is helpful to all people, then they're pushing a very, very narrow view. um a narrow, yeah, I mean, if I were people, and they had the ability to do things, they really should take trans people into the council, into the city council, and let the trans people perform for them. Let them do some entertainment and performing arts inside of the council building, and let them watch the trans people, entertain them in that way. And you could even do like a trans choir, a church choir of trans people that are singing for the council, and entertain them. I'm off. Nice chat. Well, thank you, Stratum's Gem Art. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I'm right at 2 hours right now, so I'm hoping people will subscribe. Yeah, give me a thumbs up. Let's throw this video out into the street. Yeah, that's a good segue. Throw it out into the street, into the information highway. Um, and plug up the highways. You have a good one too. Yeah, they do a good job plugging up the highways too, which is kind of funny. Um, oh, you'll give me a sub. Thank you so much. I would like a submarine sandwich too. I'm so hungry for a submarine sandwich. I'm telling you that right now. I'm so hungry for a submarine sandwich. I wanted to read this right at the end. I'm going to read it at the end because that's probably going to throw me out of the algorithm altogether. Reading this part, but I think it's something that's important and needs to be addressed. So that's why I'm doing it here at the end. So I received this message about veterans speaking out clearly on suicide prevention, and they're saying it's time for a new strategy. So so it comes from Mission Roll Call, and they said there's a lot of veterans who struggle with depression. Despite decades of increased spending, the veteran suicide rate continues to rise. Veteran suicide remains a natural crisis. Despite decades of efforts and billions of dollars spent, the numbers haven't meaningfully improved. In some areas, they've actually gotten worse. To help shape a more informed strategy going forward, Mission Roll Call recently conducted a national survey addressing the subject of suicide prevention. Over 2,100 veterans, family members, and caregivers from all 50 states responded. Their responses were clear as they are sobering, but they also pointed towards solutions grounded in lived experience and capable of producing real impact. Before we dive into our survey results, it's important to understand the worsening trend within the staggering numbers of veteran suicides every year. As shown in the chart below from the Department of Veterans Affairs 2024 National Veteran Suicide Prevention Annual Report, not only do annual suicide deaths among veterans approach or exceed 6,000 per year, but the raw numbers are worsening year over year. And so that's what they're showing right here in this chart that I have, that the numbers are getting worse. A higher percentage of veterans are dying by suicide. While the number of veteran suicides is increasing, the number of veterans is declining. These poor young soldiers fighting pointless wars created by others cowardly. Absolutely, yeah, but sometimes it seems like it's created by media. Um, and other countries, the leaders of the other countries, and even our own president right now, it seems like. Now this part is actually, I found it kind of sobering when I read it yesterday too, because it was addressing the issue of that. It says the number of veterans are down while the suicide numbers are up. It says while the number of veterans suicide is increasing, the number of veterans is declining. According to the VA today, there are roughly 18 million veterans, down from over 26 million in 2001. This means a higher percentage of veterans are dying by suicide. And as startling as these facts are, the situation may be even more dire. Owing to various challenges in identifying suicide among veterans, the actual number of veterans dying by suicide is unclear and certainly higher than these figures. As just a few examples, county coroners often struggle to identify the deceased as a veteran, and there's no mandatory reporting system for county coroners to report to a central database when they do manage to identify the deceased as a veteran. Also, identifying an overdose death as a suicide remains a challenge unless a note or other demonstration of intent is left behind. So they're talking about the intent related of why the death took place. Otherwise, it's hard for them to determine the cause of death of what took place. Given this, it makes sense that the VA's budget allocated to mental health and suicide prevention continues to increase dramatically with each annual budget allocation. That said, these figures, especially when accounting for unknown suicide numbers, demonstrate what current suicide prevention efforts are costing more money and showing worse results. With that as background, let's turn to our survey. A full 2/3 of the veterans struggle with suicidal thoughts. Among them, only the veterans responded. A full 67% have either struggled with suicidal thoughts or mental health challenges themselves, or know someone personally who has. This figure, extrapolated out over the entirety of the estimated 18 million veterans in the U.S., means that just shy of 13 million veterans have or might be struggling with mental health challenges or suicidal thoughts. So who do you think controls the media? Money? It's not necessarily a who, it's the money. It's the money controls the media. Because when you put, and everybody's been talking for a long time, And they've been saying, well, let's get the money out of politics. Well, okay, you want, and this is a lot of the media has been saying that let's get the money out of politics. Well, if you want to get the money out of politics, you got to take the money out of media too. Yeah, absolutely, you got to take the money out of media. Now, legacy media is not going to like that because that means they get defunded. So why was it those of us on YouTube got defunded? Because it seemed to me like there was an expansion of the legacy media networks. It seemed to me that there was more money put into the networks than there was into YouTube. But now that the money is being withdrawn out of, things that are repetitive, such as PBS, they said people aren't watching TV as what they used to. And so they decided that PBS, it was pretty much done by Disney anyway, is what I heard. People aren't watching that. People aren't watching NPR. So they've defunded a lot of radio stations because the radio stations were just doing the playlists. And so the money people who want to control the hearts and minds of the American public, which I thought was the advertisers, it's the money people and the advertisers. Now, the politicians have a lot of money. The government does some heavy advertising come political season. And I always thought it was nice at the beginning of YouTube because I always remember I loved political season because of the fact I had political videos on my channel. I'd sit there and watch them. Sometimes if I had like a 20-minute video, I would listen to it because there was some guy, I don't know if it was George Soros or who it was, but I just watched the video. They told us don't click on our own videos, but they didn't tell us we couldn't watch a video and the advertisement. So I'd watch the whole thing to see what it was about, related to politics. And I'm thinking if we watch our own videos, I don't know, I would have thought that we would have gotten paid for them, but they were telling us just not to click on them. But, that was always something in my mind. It's like, well, what if we see an advertisement for something on our own video and it's something we're interested in? How do we get to it? Because if it's something that is not out and about a whole lot, but we're interested in it. So what they told us is that we had to look for it someplace else to see if we could find it because they were wanting to create a way so that, because they knew that it was a problem with people who were clicking on their own videos. And so there was always people going into the YouTube help forum telling others, or telling on each other and saying that they're clicking on their own videos. And so that was coming out a lot, so somehow someone in their network or someone was telling on them that they were just clicking on their own videos. And, so advertisers aren't going to like that. They're not going to want to advertise under those circumstances. Now, the videos, right now, I think we have videos like with the advertisers. We can pause the advertisement. There's an advertisement for the video, but it doesn't actually take us to their website. So we can click on it and pause the advertisement in the middle of the video, and it doesn't take us anywhere to another website. So that's the kind of advertising we have right now. Is kind of very similar to legacy media, which was TV. And, so like on TV, there's no engagement where, so it's like if we see something on TV, we just have to remember it if it's something we're interested in. Otherwise, they're just getting paid by a sponsor. That's all that's happening is that these huge networks, they have sponsors and they just pay them to make whatever content and whatever junk content, whatever junk news that they want to make. So they just have a huge, huge budget for these celebrities who are in these mansions, a really, really big budget. It seems endless. And so they just keep doing what they're doing, and manipulating the direction of the United States. That's all they're doing, or that's what I see. So the advertisers, whoever the advertising agencies are, they're the money people. Now, now I have learned that the United States government can control the media in some ways, because that did come out. They said, well, the taxpayers, the American taxpayers, are who funded the foundation for the internet and for cable TV. And I started raising those issues as a YouTuber. I started thinking back because it's like, why are we getting attacked so critically? It's like, it just pissed me off to no end, because it's like, I'm losing my revenue, my way of life. And then there was always all these people, they're like, well, you shouldn't have put all your eggs in one basket. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't, it's like, well, a job, just one job, is putting all your eggs in one basket. And it hasn't been common practice to tell people who have had one job that they should go get another job, just in case the one job doesn't work out, that they have a backup job. I've never heard of that. So people on the internet and who come out of Hollywood are really crappy. I mean, they're very, very crappy, because they're all about self-preservation. They want to keep things the way they are, and they don't want to. They don't want to change, to things being different. So there's more of an inclusive environment of other people who need to make money and have a living as well. And so it's the American taxpayers in the United States who controls the internet. And I think there could be some varying degrees of internet, maybe outside of the United States, that is also funded, because the thing is, it's like, in order for American citizens in foreign countries to be able to utilize the internet, they would have to use it somehow. They'd have to be able to hook up to it somehow. And so, yeah, I know it's very complex as far as that goes. And who actually created the internet? I don't know where it came from. If it was from the United States or from another country, or, but what is an internet though? I mean, because our United States Postal Service, that's a form of an internet, even though you can't search it though. But it is a form of an internet. It's sort of like email a little bit. It could be, I mean, a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. But the United States Post Office prices are getting higher there again too, with inflation. And so it's like the global elitists, so, there could, I don't like to throw the baby out with the bathwater related to Alex Jones and what he was projecting. And Alex Jones was projecting, when he called it a one world government, I don't know what he was talking about with a one world government, but when you have inflation, it's almost like Alex Jones was trying to speak in tongues and get out cryptic messages without getting censored. So he wanted to make himself really, really famous and go out in such a big way, even though there was truths that he was telling. I don't know what exactly was truthful, but I believe there was truths that he was telling. And, so I can take some of it and I can think, well, yeah, when we look at a one world government, if you're putting everything in cryptocurrency, and the objective with that was to take away the foreign exchange rate so that all countries are on a same level playing field, well, then that would actually eliminate tariffs. That would eliminate inflation around the world, so other countries can compete in economic markets when they're priced out. So if you have a new country trying to compete with economies that are very well established, it makes it really hard for new countries to get going, because of the fact that that they're just starting out. So it's just like a YouTuber just starting out today who has no subscribers, no networking. I mean, there are some really deep analogies here that I would think would be simple. So the next time you start a YouTube channel, think of yourself as a new foreign country starting. You don't have an economy, you don't have anybody to follow you, you don't have any money, you don't have anything. It's just like a newborn baby being born. The baby exists for 18 years, but then again, the baby when it graduates from high school, it has nothing. So we just send kids out in the world who have nothing and they can't make it. But no, on top of that, we got inflation. Prices are getting higher, so that means that young people don't stand a chance. And yes, the car, I'm glad someone mentioned that earlier about the car companies and money laundering through car companies with Facebook. I mean, and I mentioned that yesterday, that it seems like somebody else must have listened and understood what I was talking about. With through the internet, if people are doing things for whatever reasons and they're getting given money for that stuff to put it on Facebook, the money's coming from somewhere. So you can have, for example, let me give you an example. It's just kind of like eBay, where we've talked about in the past, where you have a married couple, and then you have a married couple on eBay, and then the opposing partner is bidding up their own business at the end of the sale. And that happens a lot of times. And so, for example, like on Facebook, and you have the marketplace, you have a guy who's selling a car for $20,000. Well, someone could be giving that man money, and then it's kind of like the Western Union check. For when people received an email from a prince in a foreign country, they said they have an inheritance coming. Heck, you don't even have to do that anymore. You just get yourself a car on Facebook through the marketplace, and a car body without an engine in it. You let it sit on the side of the street. You let some guy dink around in it and play around in it for a little bit. Practice painting on it. I mean, they can easily push the car into a paint booth and paint up on it a little bit, even though it has no engine in it. It's a good practice car, though. I mean, there could be some educational value with that, but we know that education has its own money laundering taking place too with the foundations. But let's get back to Facebook and the marketplace. And so this guy plays around in the car for a little bit, and then they'll say, okay, we're going to give you, someone says, oh, we're going to give you $20,000. And so they send this man $20,000 to the Facebook marketplace. He gets the money. Now, is that man actually part of the Wall Street group or part of Facebook? Or so it goes from point A to point B. Where did it come from? Did that money come from China? Did some person from China actually pay money to that man painting the car on Facebook, and he gets the money? Or is it an effort where they just laundered money? So we know the car is not worth $20,000. It's a hunk of junk. All he did was paint the car up, but they laundered in $20,000. So Facebook becomes a bank. It becomes a cesspool of money laundering. So, okay, this guy, he's done with his car. So let's just go on ahead and say that the car belongs to some educational institution. So they got students doing this stuff and putting it on Facebook. And that's very popular. Students putting stuff on Facebook at a really inflated price. So this guy is studying maybe to be a mechanical teacher at a college or something like that. And so it's the same car. Let's say the car was like neon green the first time. So now the car is going to go back in the shop because it's part of an educational institution. And so some other kid gets the car. And so he starts, at the beginning of his semester, he starts posting pictures on Facebook of the same car because they said it's a model car of some sort. And so sometimes he has access to a trailer and another car, and he can take it home with him on the weekends and park it out in front of his house. He has his car there, and so he takes pictures of it out in front of his house, and he's doing work, and people are driving by. They're seeing him doing work on the car. And so he's just sanding the car out and buffing off the old paint job because somehow along the way it got a few scratches on it. But he's doing work there, and they want to paint it a different color. But this time the car might be It might only be $10,000. So it's for a lesser price, but it's the same car, so it's going to be sold again in the same year. Well, that's, so he works on it. He buffs everything off of it. He takes all the paint off of it. He's doing the body work. There might be a little bit of body work that needs done on it. There's no engine in it. And so he's getting it ready for someone else to use it and repaint the car back on up. But it looks like crap. It looks like a big old rust bucket. But he's still taking pictures of his car, posting it on Facebook. He's calling it a rust bucket, a hunk of junk, not going to amount to anything. But it does have some tires on it. The tires are, pretty decent. There's no engine in the car because it makes it easier for him to haul it and winch it up and off of his trailer. And so he gets paid the $10,000. So does he actually get the money, or is that money going to the college? I don't know if he actually gets the money or if the money's going to a foundation or a college. Well, they don't even need foundations anymore with the colleges. Through Facebook, they can just money launder money on into them. Or is he a political person? Is he a politician? Is he a politician and so he's just out there sometimes? Or is he an activism group? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just stating all these scenarios that could be taking place related to money laundering, because in the money laundering realm of things, and you're sending this money either to him, either in a check. Well, a check he's going to have to take to a bank. You send it to PayPal, you connect your account up to PayPal, and then you connect it to the bank or a brokerage company. Now, with a brokerage company, PayPal, I'm not sure if they do 1099 forms yet, but you can still be passing your money through the 1099 form, which the 1099 form says tips, earned tips and wages on there. Well, Trump said waitresses no longer have to pay taxes on their tips, and a lot of people will see that 1099 form. It says tips on it in that little segment, on the 1099 self-employment form. And this guy, he's in college anyway. He might not even think of himself as being employed when he received the money. That's not a job. That's not actually employment. That's just doing a little short-term service. That's doing a gig work for someone else. That's not employment. So a lot of people don't think of themselves as being employed because they don't have an employer. They're just self-employment, even though they earned more than the $500. But are the colleges, when they receive money for things, the foundations, they earned more than $600, but yet they have a foundation, they call themselves nonprofits, charitable. Well, why don't they want to pay taxes? But they want to increase the prices so their college teachers make more money, because we have inflation. So they want their college teachers to make more money. Does this make sense now? I hope it's making sense to someone, because this is what I'm seeing year over year, is that we have a huge problem with inflation because of the internet, foreign money laundering, withholding money even. Let's take it as far as that. With the internet, okay, this is a little part I just remembered about. So when I had my original YouTube channel, I learned as an advertiser, because I did advertise for many years, and I learned that I can target money through advertising to specific content creators. So you can do that on Facebook, you can do that on YouTube. So Google AdWords, I think it's just called Words now. Google Words, which is their advertising company, through Google Words, you can target money specifically to one content creator. So let's say I'm an advertiser and I want to advertise on Mr. Beast specifically. I just want to advertise on him specifically. So I'm just going to give him all the advertising that I have. I'm just going to show videos on him because he's popular. Now, I actually did try that on some of the more popular channels, but I never saw my advertisement show up on the YouTube channel, because I think they were so popular that if my if my advertisement showed up, it was going to be more in the middle of the night when nobody was watching. That's usually what I found, is that if I advertised on a popular YouTuber, it was in the middle of the night when nobody was watching. Nobody that was American was watching, but and so I still to this day see a lot of YouTubers who will advertise because Google has promotions in there for people to advertise their YouTube channel. But I'm thinking right now, it's like, if I'm not earning revenue, why do I want to advertise my channel? Because I don't have the money. I don't see it as an investment. I don't see it as an investment because of the fact, when you got some bratty ass kids who can dox you and swat you by calling the police, you lose your computer equipment, you lose everything. Well, you lose it on the internet. If the internet's just taken down, why would I want to put money into something where I can just end up losing everything? And so if a bank decides to foreclose on YouTube for some reason, if someone else owns YouTube, or Google took loans out from somewhere, which I don't think they did because they make a whole bunch of money through Wall Street. They make a lot of money with people advertising. So Google is pretty much an advertising agency in and of itself. Facebook is an advertising agency in and of itself. But through advertising agencies, like, for example, cable TV was an advertising agency, and they made lots of money too. So there's always been money laundering through advertising, and I think the show on NBC of American Greed, because it was always talking about money laundering. And so when you have inflation and prices get higher, you get money laundering. So is the inflation real? Money laundering is causing inflation? So someone just decides, oh, well, the fair market value of this, and that's what they've always said, the fair market value. You got to look around, see how much other people's properties are. That's a fair market value. Well, within cities, then you have what are they, the surveyors, or the guy who comes around that you got to pay when you're selling a house, who looks at the property, and the real estate agents that they said you got to hire. If you don't hire the real estate agents, they're already well connected to sell your house and try to put it in front of the right person that they think that would want to buy your house. So an individual person might have a harder time selling a house. Well, so if they keep the prices higher, then that just means the price of houses keep going up. And so they said, you got to look around you got to, in order to get a fair market value of a house, you just look at the other houses that are selling at that same price. That's all they gauge it by. Well, then it becomes inflation because the real estate agents become a vessel for just raising the prices higher because someone else has a higher price. And so they're all trying to keep up with inflation. But at the same time, the real estate agents are a third party to selling houses. Or do they have money laundering going on? Is money laundering causing inflation? I have to ask that question. Is money laundering causing inflation? Because the banks are so well connected and they're too big to fail. They're so well connected that they're bringing money in from other countries by marking the price of houses up higher. And then the American public is getting punished because they just keep raising the prices up higher on the properties they own after they've built them. Because to me, it would be a strategy to keep houses empty. If I was a banker and I was money laundering and bringing money in from other countries, so I've expressed a whole bunch of scenarios here related to housing, and even with the migrants, and using people who don't speak English so they don't figure out what's going on, all the corruption and everything, because the American public has figured out what they're doing and all their corrupt ways and everything. And so then they're using the migrants now for plausible deniability because of the inflation that's going on. And even NBC, which is the TV station that Trump was from with his show The Apprentice, they talked about money laundering all the time. And I started, thinking about things and expressing it on YouTube. And I said, they're doing it right in front of our faces. It's transparent. They're telling what they're doing. If we listen to the shows that they have on TV, NBC is telling exactly what they're doing. And now they want to bring those practices onto the internet. So, so someone is going to have to watch what's going on the internet. Well, we see it. I see it. Maybe a few others see it. What can we do about it? The only people who can help do something about it is Congress. Um, so the thing is, you can run a lot of money through old, dilapidated, crappy buildings and not even have anybody living in them. I mean, that's the same thing on and lawn mowing too. The lawn mowing services on YouTube where they're mowing dilapidated houses, and the YouTubers are saying that they're they're volunteering to mow the lawn, but they're putting it on YouTube. Well, you can money launder through lawn mowing services because I know in my area we had a shitload of trucks and trailers that are lawn mowing services, and I'm thinking, what is this? I've never seen anything like this before. Now, I knew right in the media area where they were building and developing the houses, there was a few, but then all of a sudden, out of the blue, there was a whole bunch of them. And it's like, where are all these lawn mowing services coming from, and what is their purpose? And then I started thinking, oh, money laundering. They're coming from Florida, and they're the ones who chase the storms, and and these are people seeking work, but at the same time you can money launder through them because plus they're doing YouTube channels, so they're showing that they're actually doing the work, but they're saying they're doing it for free. However, there is advertising on their channel. They're advertising all the types of products that they have on their YouTube channel with the lawn mowing services. So they're telling the specific brands. That's product placement. Now, YouTube says don't burn an advertisement in the middle of your video, which to me, an advertisement is like a Burger King commercial. They always told us don't do that, but product placement is permitted on YouTube. So they can show a lawnmower, and mention what the brand is. And I had decided at one point that I'm not going to mention the brands, and that's what I did when I had my um, channel teaching crochet. I thought, why should I mention a brand when the yarn company doesn't even act like they want anything to do with me to begin with anyway? And so I just started showing the end of the yarn, and I wouldn't show the brand. And so I liked the advertising that I was getting because sometimes I would get an advertisement for Olive Garden. I made a lot of money from Olive Garden advertisements when they were advertising. And there was quite a few others, some political commercials. I made a lot of money from them. And, so there's some, some that I will mention, but there's others that, um, there's no point, and even in my own niche that I was in, the yarn companies would not advertise on us. It was more like they wanted to utilize social media. A lot of the brands will do this. They want to utilize social media so the brand doesn't have to spend as much money advertising. That's what I saw with the yarn companies. And not only that, yarn has gotten more expensive now. So the yarn manufacturers are really shitting on the crafting community, because they had this expectation that they were just going to keep doing what they were doing. And I didn't even think about the ties they had to Hollywood either, or the book authorship community. Books! You can launder money through books. Oh my gosh. You have digital asset books. The Kindle is a digital asset book. Now, I put a book up on Amazon, and I didn't make much money from it at all. Like maybe $12 was the most that I made. Because usually when I do something, I didn't make a whole bunch of money from it at all. But it's a digital asset. You get to keep the PDF in the Kindle, and you have access to the Kindle books. But think about the money laundering potential through that, because it's a digital PDF. You have to have a reader. At one point, you had to have a specific reader to read PDFs off of some platforms, because they still had a PDF, they had a reader, but they were different software. So they were doing it on purpose. The software was different on purpose because you were forced to go to different sites. So if this person had a book that you wanted to read, and then you could read it on that platform. Or if this one had a PDF, so the PDFs were not, they started making it harder to read the PDF documents. You can money launder. So, through Amazon, you can money launder there. Or you can money launder through the food that they have on there. When they have one can of soup, one can of chicken noodle soup that is $25. Why do they have one can of chicken noodle soup that's $25 on Amazon? Has anyone figured that out yet? Or is it money laundering? Very well could be money laundering. I mean, so is the soup industry money laundering now? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, it is an inflated price. But when nobody checks any of this stuff and they call it digital assets, and there's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse through the internet. And so it excludes a lot of people out when you have these organized networks that just tend to work together. And I come across them every day on YouTube, every single stinking day. I still get people who will tell me that my channel is not going to amount to anything, that shorts are not, I shouldn't be making shorts because they're not going to do anything for me, that I'm not going to get any views from my shorts. They tell me that all the time. It does get kind of brain draining, well, let me use this example. I'm going to use this as an example. I've shared with y'all that I used to teach crochet. Now, in my mind, I did enjoy doing that, and some people said it's a form of meditation. I've been told that I should go back to just doing that. It's like I could do that, but why should I and not get paid? Because the views are going to come into YouTube. YouTube can put advertising on my videos even though I'm not getting paid. Now, another aspect is with all the people who have said, "Oh, well, things are spam." When you write something, it's spam. Now, the thing I've thought about is, okay, isn't crochet spam? If you're going to look at it like that, then that's spam too, because I can say, put the hook around the ring, wrap the yarn over, pull the ring through. Now you've completed the single crochet. Wrap the yarn around your hook, pull through, wrap the yarn over your hook, pull through 2 loops, wrap the yarn over your hook, pull through 2 loops, you've completed the single crochet. Well, that's really not a conversation. And then people have told me, they're like, well, that's boring. We don't want to hear from you. That's boring. And so it's like, okay, then I'm still excluded again. I'm excluded again, even though it's something of value that new people every year might want to learn. That's what I found. Every year there was people who wanted to learn how to do it. They don't want to go on a journey around to a bunch of different websites trying to figure out how to do it and then be told to go to a PDF document and to buy a PDF document, then to find out that it was made by artificial intelligence, and then you're not even getting a tangible item. So with crochet patterns, some of them are selling stuff for $6 here and there, $10 here and there. Oh, even on eBay. eBay at one point, I had seen a magic crochet magazine for $12. One magazine. So are they money laundering through eBay? I know Etsy has an awful lot of PDF documents. I don't know how eBay handles PDF documents, but Etsy has a lot of PDF documents. And there was one woman on YouTube, and she said that she just learned how to crochet through YouTube, and she didn't learn how to write patterns, but yet she is selling patterns on Etsy, crochet patterns on Etsy. And so it seems kind of funny that she has all these patterns on Etsy that are crochet patterns. She says she doesn't know how to write crochet patterns, But she's made an awful lot of money um, selling PDF documents. There's something suspicious about that. Very suspicious, I would say. And then the other woman she was doing crochet and crafting, and she was saying, I came across her the other day, and so she was selling artwork in a PDF document. So she just makes digital artwork and she sells it in a PDF document. Is it money laundering? You can sell quilt crafting through a PDF document. So there's a lot of money laundering, I believe, through the crafting community. So when they jack up the price of yarn, as they have been doing, is there money laundering through the yarn community? Well, that's going to just slow things down. I mean, that doesn't mean that people are just going to be using those old-fashioned brands anymore, because the stores are closing now. So the more expensive they make things, the more stores close. That's what I'm seeing. So it's like, well, is there intent to put all the stores in the United States out of business? Is that what they're trying to do? That's what it feels like. That's what it seems like. And I know I'm not supposed to be in my feelings, but that's what it feels like. They're trying to put all the stores in the United States out of business. Is someone doing that? Because that's what it feels like. And so when things get more and more expensive, then people have less money. So where are people who are on fixed incomes and no incomes what are people supposed to do? But then let's go back here and we'll end this. Veterans are speaking clearly on suicide prevention. It's time for a new strategy. Well, how much of inflation has to do with suicide when a person feels like they have no future? And there's a lot of senior citizens who have been talking about how they're going into retirement because they have no money. They feel like they have no future. Well, do you think inflation has anything to do with this? Because I do. Personally, I do. Oh my gosh, I've been on here for close to 3 hours, but I think I'm going to end it here now. So for those of you who have hung out here with me, thanks for watching, and I'll probably be back on again. I hope you'll subscribe, because I like to talk about things that are real life issues, not just the silly play stuff all the time. But I will make silly play stuff. I'm not an expert at it, but I like to think that I am. I like to think I'm good at it, but I'm not an expert at it. But I try. I try to make things that are funny, to cheer myself up. That's all I have, is if I can make myself laugh, which I did with that video yesterday of Donald Trump saying he has bad breath. Thought that one was funny. So I try to make myself laugh and cheer myself up, because what else do I have? I understand the veterans and feeling like they don't have a future, because I feel the same way, that I don't have a future. Being a senior citizen, and because inflation is so bad, and the president is having a temper tantrum or whatever it is that he's doing. So that means money, prices get higher. There's less money for people. The dollar is being devalued, and there's less money for the American public. And so I don't know what the solution is. They're going to have to do something, because this is a crisis, a big crisis. We were told that we were supposed to be taken care of going into retirement age, and that's not happening. They keep saying that the veterans were supposed to be taken care of. That's not happening either. And so, I'm of the mindset, if you're a decent human being and you've not been in trouble to the point where you should be in prison, all of us should be taken care of. I always felt that way myself. But, when you have these great big distraction movements of BLM and Antifa, and people having their hissy fits, like the Democrats have been doing, having a great big temper tantrum meltdown and hissy fit and stuff like that, they became a distraction from reality. That's what happened, is the Democrats became a distraction from reality, and then they don't want to listen to anybody. But I'm not of the mindset of a political party. because I don't align to them. We can have a president. We can have a president without a political party. Why do we need a political party? There's a lot of money in the political parties and money laundering through the political parties, right? If we're talking about money laundering still, I mean, the political parties are a monopoly. There's a lot of money laundering probably through them too. Think about that, how powerful that is. Because the political part, maybe that's why I don't know. I'm just thinking that maybe some of the political parties have been abandoned. Because I know over the decades that we've had political parties in the United States that have been abandoned. And we don't need a political party to run the country. They don't run the country. But think about the money laundering taking place that can go through political parties. And the political parties are a monopoly. But I'm on the side of humanity. I'm not on the side of the, I think we need a cap on housing, which means that, it's like the price, like rent shouldn't be no more than $50 a month. People are going to have plenty of money then to get by on. There should be a cap on rent. So you can discourage people from being a renter and landlord with inflation, and you can discourage a person from being a landlord and a greedy person with deflation. So you can take it down to either extreme. You can make it really high where you have money laundering. But if you make rent only $50 a month, well, that ain't going to work for money laundering. I mean, my gosh, I'm not thinking in the mindset of a criminal very well now, am I? Now, only a criminal is going to say, let's keep raising the price of rent so we can money laundering from foreign countries. We can money launder money into the United States from foreign countries and violate the emoluments clause. Because I think that's what's being done. But if we lower rent down to $50 a month, then the American public has more money. They have more money, but they can't money launder as easy. Think about it. That's pretty powerful, isn't it? When you think about if rent for a nice house is $50 a month, it makes it really hard to money launder. You'd have to build a whole bunch of houses and let all the houses sit vacant. But see, New York City is full of money laundering with the skyscrapers. So you got those, the World Trade Center or whoever bought it, and then all those empty buildings up in New York City that no one can afford to live in. They're not suitable for people to live in anyway. It's hard to money launder if prices don't keep going up. But if they go down, it's also hard to money launder. Now, if you just put the prices down, so the average price of rent right now is like close to $3,000 a month, maybe $2,500 to $3,000 a month. And so if you lowered it down to $2,000 a month, they can still money launder. They're still going to do it and be able to pull it off. But if you moved the rent down to $50 a month and placed a cap on it, the American public is going to be happy with that because that seems to be reasonable. And then there's going to be extra money for food. Maybe the grocers, they might take prices down too. Then maybe the rent on grocery stores would go down lower and the grocery stores wouldn't be going out of business. Now, someone's going to have to give the grocery stores money so we have grocery stores that stay in business because food is important here in the United to people. And the same with the car dealerships. Now, who's propping up the car dealerships to sell those cars on the car lots? Who's propping them up? Because they always have a whole bunch of cars. And I've often thought it's like, well, my gosh, hardly anyone can get a loan anymore for anything. I mean, cars are now the price of a house, of what a house used to be. But anyway, I know I said I was going to go. So thanks. So we'll see you guys later, and I'll probably be on again later if I think of something that could be important to talk about. I think it's important to me, and I think it's important to our country and the other people in our country. But um, the only thing I can think is that I'm being put through this direction for another reason, and I'm not quite sure why. Yeah, I'm still in that bad mindset of saying everything happens for a reason. Well, yeah, life happens for a reason. What is the reason? And it kind of dismisses real life problems though when I say that, when I say things happen for a reason. It's like, well, it just dismisses the bad things that are happening and being able to talk about things without speaking in and alluding to and leaving things out because people don't want to hear about it. Um, so, anyway, talk to you later.